Let's begin now, though, with a word not often associated with Washington. The word is bipartisan. The state's senior senator working across the aisle on a number of bipartisan bills in D.C. One to address the record number of migrants crossing into Texas from Mexico, and another to incentivize more companies to make those precious semiconductor chips here in the U.S. again. Senator John Cornyn joined us from his office in Washington. Senator Cornyn, welcome back to the program. Let's start with a bipartisan bill that you were leading about the semiconductors and trying to incentivize more companies to make those little chips, those important little chips here in the U.S. The Senate already has enough votes to pass this before the August recess. Do you expect it's going to get a vote this week? And secondly, is it going to pass?
Well, I do expect it to pass this week, and I do believe the House will promptly take it up after we do. This has been a 2-year-long project of mine, a bipartisan project, recognizing after COVID-19 the vulnerability of many of our supply chains. And as we began to look at it, 90% of all of the semiconductors that run technology from your cell phone to the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter come from overseas, which is an unacceptable risk. The reason for that is it's 30% cheaper to buy or to build a manufacturing fab in Asia than it is in the United States. But when you consider the consequences of natural disasters, pandemics, or maybe even a military conflict between China and Taiwan, the risk is just unacceptable. So that's the reason why this is so important.
Senator, we saw you on the Texas-Mexico border the other day as well, too, pushing another bipartisan bill, the Bipartisan Border Solutions Act, which you're leading there in the Senate, too. This would establish at least 4 new processing centers, I believe, to get migrants processed quicker. It would give federal agents more resources, speed up the migration procedures as well, too, and deter illegal immigration. I'm curious whether you think there is enough support to get this passed. And if so, why not just get this thing passed and put it on the president's desk?
Well, I'd love to do that. Frankly, I reached out to Senator Kirsten Sinema, a Democrat from the border state of Arizona, Henry Cuellar, a Democrat from Laredo, and Tony Gonzalez, a Republican for the largest contiguous border district in the country. And we put this together with the hope that maybe, just maybe, the Biden administration would be looking for some help when it comes to the current crisis that's going on at the border. Unfortunately, they show zero interest because I'm afraid that the Democratic base now, particularly the progressive base, they don't believe in controlling the border. They believe in open borders. The problem is it's not just migrants. You also see drugs coming across the border, which have taken the lives of 100,000 plus Americans last year alone through drug overdoses. So unfortunately, it takes a partner to negotiate with, and we don't have a willing partner.
I want to ask you about another bipartisan bill that's floating through the Senate right now, too. It would update the Electoral Count Act and ideally prevent another January 6th like we saw not too long ago. I'm curious whether you support this, where you are on this bill.
Well, the Electoral Count Act is the law that governs the procedure by which the Electoral College votes are counted by Congress. And this is not the first time that a member of Congress has objected. 2004, Senator Barbara Boxer, a Democrat, objected. We saw that happen again on January the 6th. What I believe that people need to have confidence that our elections are actually working, that the votes are properly cast, that are properly counted. And if this will increase public confidence in that process, then I think it's worth considering. I haven't looked at the final bill yet, but there is a bipartisan bill that hopefully will eliminate some of the confusion, controversy, and frankly, loss of confidence in our elections that unfortunately we saw as a result of what happened on January the 6th.
I hear the bell ringing for a vote. One last quick question for you, too. Almost 200 federal agents responded to the Uvalde school massacre more than a month ago. Should law enforcement be held accountable for not following training, not engaging the shooter that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead? And if so, what do you think that accountability should look like, Senator?
I'm the last one to say that you ought to blame the police when they show up at a scene and try to do the best they can in the fog of war, so to speak. But there are procedures by which law enforcement can be held accountable, both within their departments and in other venues. and I would let those go forward as appropriate. But it's there's nothing about this shooting in Uvalde that was good. Perhaps if there is some good to come out of it, it will be that we will learn lessons from this, so prevent the likelihood that loss of life will occur in future incidents.
Senator, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Good to be with you.